Good. All right. Supposedly it's going down to 10 degrees tonight here in Pittsburgh. Spent early part of the evening going and getting about 10 gallons of antifreeze to make sure all the cars were antifreezed. So sound is perfect. All right, good. All right. Before we get started, I guess the link is out there. We're going to be doing the 2-day session this weekend. So if you haven't ever done it before, at least you don't have horses in the barn. If you haven't done it before, this is kind of the comprehensive training. This is where you get everything in an orderly manner so that you understand why A affects B and B affects C, and you can see it in a logical process. And once you get done with that, then everything else becomes much more clear, and these type of sessions don't become education sessions as much as they do become reinforcement sessions that, and I say reinforcement because I know all this stuff, but it's like anything else. If I don't go back and review it and practice it, I forget which patterns work well and which patterns work well in certain conditions of the market. So anyways, and remember, if you've taken this session before, just email Abraham and say you'd like to sit in again because it'll be free. All right, as we can see, and this is tonight the kind of stress that on these type of markets, I've discovered in the past, I make tons of money. And then in this type of market, I lose money, which comes to the logical conclusion that if you start seeing that things are starting to get iffy, start closing out positions and sit with cash. Right now, the evaluation of the market is we're still in an uptrend, but we're getting a lot of iffy trading days in here right now, both in the Dow and the S&P 500. Had a little bit more positive day today after opening lower, but notice how for the last 4 or 5 days it's been indecisive trading. And then the NASDAQ also notice the trajectory has come up, and once they gapped it up, notice that the trajectory hasn't been all that rambunctious, and where they kind of lollygagging right here at the same level it topped out before. Again, with the only criteria being that it isn't closing below the T-line. So we're in the overbought condition. We're seeing indecisive trading. So one of two things are going to happen, and it will probably happen in a big way. If they open lower and start trading down, they're probably going to come all the way back down to the 50 to fill this gap. If they open positive, we're going to be wave 1, wave 2, going to wave 3. Don, it's Abraham at candlestickforum.com. All right, so does this tell us which way the market's going? Definitely not. We can't ever, we get projections when we see these type of signals in the oversold condition that we're probably heading up. When we start seeing these type of conditions in the overbought condition, we don't know whether this is just a wave 2 or whether it's heading down. But what it does do for us is gets us prepared to do what we need to do based upon what the market is telling us. We have to start living with a two-sided market. And it was the, I guess, the transportation index that showed a little bit more weakness, but one still, that last criteria, they didn't close it below the T-line. So still mixed up here. Might be churning. It looks like it's getting toppy, but for all we know, this might move. They might move this sideways for another 2 months. All right, and then crude oil. As you can see, crude oil, ever since it hit the resistance levels, Remember up here, everybody's saying, oh yeah, crude oil is going to go to 125, 135, which, let's see where it did go to. I guess that was a December contract. But they had all those fantastic numbers of where crude oil is going to go to because of their analysis of supply and demand. It's been heading back down. We're now here in the $75 range after being at 102.50. And one thing I've discovered about the markets, and this is why you never listen to the experts, because I always go on the very simple premise that if there's an analyst that is good, everybody knows about them. And I always ask the rhetorical question, who's the best analyst on Wall Street right now? Everybody kind of sits there because there's no name that sticks out. If an analyst is good, that reputation will start escalating very quickly. But all analysts, some of them are right today, and then 6 months later, they're dead wrong. So anyways, this is a case where we could be going down to $60 a barrel again. Now, does that seem illogical or incomprehensible? I can remember back in, I think it was the late 90s, where crude oil had gone to $50 a barrel, and they were talking about going much higher. It was never going to go back down until it went back down to $10 a barrel. Analysts, yeah. Yeah, and so the old saying is, why did God invent weathermen? So they could make analysts, or economic analysts could make them look good. So anyway, still in a downtrend in crude oil. The dollar, still in a steady uptrend. Notice once it came out of the J-hook pattern, what it's not been able to do, close back below the T-line. Right now I'm long cattle from right in here. Why? Because notice the pattern and notice where it was trying to break out. And if it does break out, where do you think it's going to go to? It's going to stay in this uptrend and eventually hit the top of the trend channel up here somewhere. Hogs, same scenario. Notice the scoop type pattern. And when they broke through the 50 and the 200, notice what they did today. They came back and used the 50 and 200 and the 3T line as support, which told us they weren't backing off. That was just backing and filling. Cursor in PEL, and I'd say cursors, none. No. Maybe that was it. See if that works. Oh, not me? Okay. But I think we kind of resolved that little box problem. Oh. I was watching coffee. Still will watch coffee as long as it stays above the T line. If it gets up through the 50, then it's coming back up here for that move, which means the top of the trend channel could be the next possibility. Interest rates. Let's see. Bah. That's not what I wanted. 10-year note, not very energetic on the downside. Notice where the reversal was. When they had these huge moves, that changed the channel or changed the direction. Gold is the other one. Okay. Gold is still in this downtrend. I probably wouldn't be long gold yet. I would think that gold has to break this downtrending 50-day moving average to get back in it. And silver. Same scenario. It's got to break this downtrending channel, and it hasn't done that yet. When you say the dollar is up or down, it's against what or compared to what? It's just up. People are buying the dollar. And it doesn't have to be against anything. They're just buying the dollar. That also would mean that your euro is probably heading down, which it seems to be doing. Your British pound still heading down. So it's what value they put on it. Now, if you're a Forex trader, which to me Forex was just another market to create more trading activity, it's much simpler to just analyze the trend of the signal or single trading entity. It's tough enough to figure out tough enough to analyze one trend, but to figure out how to do them together, that's even more difficult. Now, trading Forex, which I've never figured out how to get those signals here, you trade Forex just the same way you would trade this, trade the dollar or anything else. See what the charts are telling you. Okay, I think it's a dollar. I don't think there's anything else of any great interest. Cocoa still on a downtrend, and sugar, that's not the right sugar. Sugar is still on a downtrend. Let's see. Oh, cotton. I haven't traded cotton for a few days, but notice how let's get rid of this one. Oh. Yeah, still in a downtrend on cotton when it went 1, 2 sideways, and then 3 when it kind of broke this last support level. Still in a downtrend. Let's see, natural gas. Whoops. Natural gas, that's a toughie. Now, I would think it's in a J-hook pattern, but yeah, that'd be a tough one to trade right now. Might be locked in between the 200 and the 50. Yeah, we did hogs. Hogs, I'm still long because of the scoop type pattern. And December cattle, I'm still long with the anticipation that if you did take a trend line, kind of right up through the tops, here's their upside target. Oops, okay. All right. Let's take a look at a few stocks, and these aren't in any order. But again, part of the analysis is, when has there been a change of investor sentiment? Notice the fry pan bottom on this one. Then we started seeing the breakout. When we see a breakout, that usually means there's something new is happening in that stock. Hasbro is setting up for what we know is a flutter kicker type signal, which means you can see there's an uptrend. They took it down all the way to the 200, then they gapped it up above today's open, or yesterday's open, Friday's open. Oh, I thought we got rid of that. What did I do? Cursor? None. Okay. So if they open this positive, you want to be buying it because they're going to take it up to the top of the trend channel. There's a strong dollar pushing commodities down. No, not necessarily, because cattle isn't being pushed down by the dollar. Now the other ones, I don't know. That I think that mostly commodities are going to be more influenced by supply and demand. Now these gap ups, I'm off track here. CLDX, there's your best friend. I would suspect you're going to be in this same trend channel on a 45 degree to the upside. And that one, Fold, also had that kicker signal today. Unfortunately, it's trading back down here because they said they were going to come out with a new offering, but this is still your message. And I use the term message as a quoted term, that this gap up is probably telling you there's now a new sentiment in this stock. So all you have to do right now is, if they open it lower, you're ready to buy it if it comes back up through yesterday or today's close, either in tomorrow's trading or the next day, couple days trading. Let's see, there was a reason I had this one on here. No, I think it was more because earlier in the day it had broken out through this level. Now it's still gapped up after a hammer bouncing off the T line. Stochastic's not in the overbought condition. That still makes this a viable doji or a flutter kicker type signal. Many fry pan bottoms seem to have been truncated. They didn't complete before going parabolic. Yeah, sometimes that happens, but more than likely it's usually going to be at the end. But the same rationale, or the same, what do I say, logic should be, even if it didn't make a clean rounded bottom, fry pan bottom, the breakout still tells you something. That as investor sentiment was building up, I forgot what I was saying because I was reading what Rusty said. Rusty, where do I go? Setup? I don't see where setup is. Is it on here somewhere? On the top menu. Oh, okay. Setup, chart preferences, miscellaneous tab, and then click show. Well, I'll be a son of a gun. How about that? Rusty, you get a bonus. I've been trying to correct that. You may have to remind me a few times because it keeps popping up every now and then. Thank you. All right. Now it won't drive me to drink, which may be not as good a thing as I wanted. But I'm looking at G-Pro because G-Pro's got this slow curve. It's already got this doji gap up. Pretty much told us that this high has now been breached, which means now instead of us backing off, we're in this direction. And if they break this downward trend channel, that means we could be in wave 3, which would give you another substantial move. Now, the rhetorical question, is it going to move that same magnitude? Have no earthly idea. But all the indications of what normal human investor sentiment does implies that if they break this out, we could be in a wave 3, because that's what these type of patterns historically do. And that's basically human nature. Strong price move, lots of doubt, and then when the doubt's over, they take it right back up again. A free weekend, that's right. Okay. Oh, offering after the close, if that isn't a fine howdy do. All right. Okay, and the other one that rides along with G-Pro is AMBA, and notice what AMBA hasn't been able to do. Has not been able to close back below the T-line. Inverted shampoo. Okay. And PEIX, that's a nice looking chart. Notice it came up and failed, pulled back right about the T-line area, and I definitely use the 20. Now closing back up makes this very simple. If they open this positive, breaking through this level, breaking through this level, and breaking through this level with a J-hook pattern, probably got a good move to the upside. Oh, as in Head and Shoulders. Okay. And Leaf, even though it's not a high volume stock, it's decent enough for a $36 to $38 stock. But notice the classic. Fry pan bottom, strong price move. Pull back. Notice we had an inverted hammer Harami, which the Harami itself told us selling had stopped. Inverted hammer told us if they opened up positive, there's a high probability they're going higher, which means I would suspect this is a J-hook pattern that would continue in this steady uptrend. Again, these are type of things I say that should happen. That's because that's the type of reaction we should see. Now, how come this isn't working? ANKR. Al Pashaw. I don't know why this one's not working over here. Then TKMR. TKMR, indecisive trading, not real promising yet, except for the fact that they did a doji sandwich type setup with a gap up. Let's make this big. Whoops, what was I doing here? Making this bigger. So this little gap up coming out of this congestion area is usually a good indication that there's now a new strong demand for the stock. This one you definitely can be buying on positive trading tomorrow. Okay, they had earnings. All right, thank you, John. On Leaf, all right. All right, so again, that new message, this is a message. When they gap it up, anticipate more upside after the profit taking. OMER, kicker type signal, 45 degree. This message right here tells you there's been a dramatic change of investor sentiment. There's going to be more to the upside. Kinder Morgan, this one was an example of where does this signal occur? Right here at the breakout level. When that happens, everybody and their brother could see there was a resistance level here, and they broke right through it with strong signals after a doji. That tells you that also there's a very strong change of investor sentiment based upon the previous chart pattern. Anytime you see that morning star signal, kind of acts like a little scoop action, a scoop pattern, you're going to see a slingshot effect to the upside. So basically you can say that right around the 50-day moving average it acted as support. Where do you think the next target's going to be? What everybody else is watching up to the next resistance level. Now DDD you can keep an eye on because it had a little gap up, but what's it still have to prove? It still has to prove that it can break this downtrending channel. We've just had a bullish engulfing signal with a gap up through the T-line. You could be buying this one on positive trading, but you just be a little bit more diligent to see what happens once it gets to this level. See if it can break through that area. Now, if I'm looking at something like that, and that industry is acting strong, I'll go to the other ones. Here's XONE. This one looks like it's got more of a potential if it breaks through the 50 because of the inverted hammer bullish confirmation. MITK. This is that prospect that if you see First of all, if you see a strong signal, you're going to have more upside. If you see a big gap up, especially right up to a resistance level, even though they sold this off, they didn't sell it off to the point where it told us the bears are back in control. So we just watched to see when the profit taking's over. That's when you can start buying again. Somewhat along the same lines of what happened with ACHN. As long as this doesn't close below the T-line, you stay with it, because more than likely it's going to stay in a steady uptrend as long as it stays above the T-line. Let's see. So sometimes place your buy stop right at the 50 instead of the T-line above it to get a better price. Well, yeah, it all depends on where the moving averages are. Sometimes the T-line and the 50 are right at the same spot. But you remember, or you have to remember, everybody's watching the 50. Nobody's watching the T-line because it's not on 99.999% of the charts out there. Ford Motor Company, for those looking for a longer term, I think this is a nice big bottoming action, and we're starting to break out with some good gap ups. You can be buying Ford. Just make sure it can get through the 200. If it gets through the 200, through this area, that tells you this big fry pan bottom is now in the process of breaking out. To add currency to TC 2000, go to Tools, Add, Move, Exchanges. Okay. All right, thank you. Fortunately, MS, it's like teaching an old dog new tricks. I've used this system for so long. Remind me in the chat room tomorrow of how to set that up. All right, the indexes, TZA is pretty much telling us that these small caps, TZA, it's done a little doji sandwich. This is the bear fund, which means the small caps are starting to give up a little bit. People are starting to come in. Let's see, on Ford, all right. Would you wait for it to retrace? No. No, we're not buying a retracement. We're buying the pattern telling us which way it's probably going. It's probably going back to the 200 at least. And then I wouldn't be afraid to be buying here with the idea that if it hits the 200 and fails, it come back out. If it goes through, you can be adding some more. SRTY, another index on the Russell. Guess this is the, is this the 2X? But again, there's that little doji sandwich breaking through the resistance level. Hold on, I've got a... Okay. Oops. Okay, and again, keep in mind what we try to do is find the patterns that have the biggest potential for a breakout. There's that slow curve. Now, what's the difference between a slow curve and a fry pan bottom? Fry pan bottom usually occurs at the bottom of a trend, whereas a slow curve usually is part of an uptrend, breaking you out up into the next next territory. All right, Facebook. Facebook can't get back up above the T-line. What's indicating that there's a in a downtrend? Because they gapped it down, and there's no force yet to tell you that the gap down is has been reversed. And this is DNR. There's that slow curve. breakdown. This one can be shorted on weakness tomorrow. So anytime you start seeing those starting to break below the T-line, there's your big shooting star, there's your doji, there's your shooting star, gap down. So RGLS, which was strong. And so here's the kind of the rhetorical question. When do you get ready to sell? When you see, after a big move to the upside, when you see a sell signal to close back below the T-line. Oh, what did I just do there? Oh, LinkedIn. LinkedIn, kicker signal to the downside. There's selling. I tried to bring it back up. There's a strong selling. I told you they're probably bringing this one down pretty strong. ENPH. Again, there's that kicker signal. I was illustrating this one, that when they do a kicker signal to the downside, they're going to take it all the way down. You just stay short until you see a buy signal to close back up above the T-line. Go-Go, bearish engulfing, doji sandwich. That's telling us that this downtrending or this trend right here, this resistance level, is failing. You can be ready to go short on this one with the anticipation they could bring this all the way back down to the next support level. And AFFX. Once again, there's that, whoops, what did I do here? There's a signal and the gap down. The gap downs are your message. Tells you after indecisive trading up here, bam, they want to be out of this with great enthusiasm, which means there's usually going to be more follow through. And what is this one? MUNR. Oops. And VNR. There's that doji gap down. I would suspect they're going to bring this back down into this congestion area. So a lot of this is just simple logic of what are the signals telling you and what force is also telling you that it's time to go the opposite direction. Yes, those are small cap bear funds that are bullish, meaning small caps are weak. Yes. Yep. So a lot of people say, well, how do I short something? Well, you can buy the short funds. So if you think things are going down, you buy the short funds. That way you can buy them in your retirement accounts. Okay, so right now with the markets kind of trading very indecisively, got to be prepared to be going both ways. This is why there's sometimes in the market, I would say, have both longs and shorts in your portfolio, because there's going to be times where when the market's not telling us which direction it wants to go yet, there's still going to be stocks that are going up, still stocks going down. At least having some of each in your portfolio kind of offsets being way too long and when the market may take a tank, or being way too short if you got into short too early and there's still more upside. Let the market tell you what the market is doing. Let's see. All right, so before we do the double line, I've been getting questions on what the schedule was for this weekend. We will be starting at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. I know that's a little bit early for the West Coast. And usually what happens is after sitting for 4 or 5 hours, everybody starts getting butt sore and brain fried, and they start getting less retention in what we're showing. So we're going to do it a little bit different this time. This time we're going to go from 9 to 1. And again, most of you are going to see the same things you've seen in the past, but it's just going to be in an order with everything built into it of why the logic is that these charts work well. And we'll try to do most of the 12 major signals and the patterns, which again, we'll have all our confirming indicators built into those charts, hopefully by the morning. Then we're going to take a couple-hour break and let everybody go out and stretch and move around, and then we're going to come back around 3:30 or 4 o'clock. I'll have to figure out that day what time. And then we're probably going to go for another 3 hours after that. So everybody will be a little bit more rejuvenated. Will you have cross line and be able to draw trend lines in the presentation? I don't know. Will we be able to sign in if we are late? Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is not like a class where you have to show up or you get in trouble. You tell your parents. You can come and go whenever you want, and whatever you don't want to sit through, it will be recorded and you can look at it at your leisure sometime later. From your observation, what is the ratio of stocks following the market? Oh, I don't know that, Rusty. Obviously, the majority are following the market because that's why the market is going up or down, is because all those are going up or down. So, all right, I guess with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And then 4.8 seconds, do the next double line. Okay, let's slow down because I can't ever get back to where we started because everything keeps scrolling too quickly. Okay, let's see. Okay, you guys, you can be buying this one now. On positive. This is the long natural gas. You can be buying this one because notice how they couldn't pull back anywhere near the bottom. They only pulled halfway. Then there was a bullish Arami gap up. That pretty much tells you that's where they stopped the downtrend and started buying. Let's see, NBS. Let's make this smaller so we can see what the whole chart looks like. Yeah, broke this downtrend. This one you can still buy on positive trading. So if it opens positive, tells you today's profit taking was over, but they're still going to move in the direction of how they opened it after the doji. And then what we don't want to see is it closing back below the doji. SNSS, another one that can be bought, has good volume. More than likely, the next target is going to be the 50-day moving average. EMC, stay long. There's that slow curve telling you you're in the next wave right now. So at this point, you stay long. I would put my sell stop below today's open. It shouldn't come back through there if this is still in a strong uptrend. And DEC, just stay long. Notice how it used the 50 as support on the open today and immediately moved up. You stay long until you see a sell signal on this one. And Jern told you again yesterday, the message was that they wanted to get into it. There was profit taking. Today told you the profit taking was over. Get ready to buy this one on positive trading tomorrow also. Lag. Let's see. Bond funds. Yeah, bond prices are slowly going back up, which means yields are still slowly going down. SCCO, nothing dynamic there yet. If I was going to buy this, it would be more above this level, telling me they're moving away from the 200-day moving average. BLOX, This one, if it opens lower tomorrow, close it out. Because essentially what it tells you is if they failed at the 200, they're probably coming back to the 50. It needed to break out and close positive today, which it didn't do. And BJRI, this one has to open positive and trade positive. If it opens lower, you close it out, because that tells you this downtrending channel is in progress. Remember, they're going to move it in the direction how they open it tomorrow. And recap, after that long-legged doji, get ready to buy this, provided the volume is good. You can buy this one on positive trading and just use the T-line as your stop. Let's see. I'll have to look at that. Oh, it's World Cup Advisors, yes. One of the programs that I've set up, a lot of people were wanting to know how to trade commodities, or they wanted me to trade their commodity accounts. So World Cup Advisors has a program where whatever trade I put on, they will duplicate that same trade for your account. And it's being done on a more of an automated base, not automated, but are based upon the signals and patterns, so that whenever the system picks up that there's that system and pattern, they put on the trade for us. Noah? Noah, this one has to open, well, this one should have been closed out today. If you still own it, it has to open positive and trade positive. The reason I'd say it has to open positive without, if you didn't close it out today, because it didn't do a sell signal today, and as we can see, the T-line's been a factor the whole way up. And AVNR, still nothing there. We closed it out just because there's no direction, and we've got buy stops up here that we don't know whether they're going to go sideways, down, or up. Stochastics aren't telling us anything, so there's no reason to be in this one right now. It did come out of a fry pan bottom, and then it didn't go anywhere. So I'd rather buy this. I'd rather pay up for this, knowing that it's moving in the direction of what we expect it to be doing. Right now, it's too high risk to own. CGNX, this one you can short on weakness. You just have to watch to see if the 50 is going to act as support. Let's see. So if you short this one, just see what it does at the 50. BEEV still has to break this downtrending channel. You could be buying this one if it comes back up through today's open. And ISIS, stay long as this stays above the T-line, which in this case it has to open positive tomorrow. BIDA, you stay long on this one. Even though it backed off, it broke out with a little best friend, broke out through this level. Definitely in an uptrend until you see a sell signal and a close below the T-line. PACB, just stay long as it doesn't close below the T-line. Kendai, nothing here yet. Remember, the bigger the signal, the more compelling that there's been a change of investor sentiment. And Scotty, you can be buying. It also has a slow downtrend element. So if you buy it, you're looking to see what it does once it gets to the 50. IBM. IBM, nothing here. Until you see something that tells you there's a dramatic change of investor sentiment. You've got the potential of a doji sandwich, so I'd rather see the doji sandwich confirm, tell me they've broken out through this first little resistance level, Then you've got the prospects that going up to around the 50, which is the same area as where it bottomed or where the gap occurred. GDX, bullish engulfing, inverted hammer doji, uptrend. Final decision is to see whether it breaks out through this downtrending channel. If it does, then you have to see what it does once it gets to the 50-day moving average. Apple, nothing wrong here. Notice how it's been using the 3T line as support. You still got this J-hook pattern in progress. You just stay long. At this point, if I was trading it, I wouldn't want to see it come back down through today's low. If it did, that tells me that doji in the overbought condition was the reversal, or at least short term, and probably would come back and test the T-line. ADP, stay short. This one, once it's gotten below the T-line, you just stay short. MDR, is that McDermott? Nothing real exciting yet. And you're in a slow uptrend, but you're starting to run out of your stochastic strength. Nothing to get real excited about on this one. And ZLTQ. Another one where it's got the J-hook pattern set up after the fry pan bottom, your classic. NQ just hasn't been able to get started. It has to open positive and trade positive tomorrow to stay in it. You probably shouldn't be in it right now, but if you're in it and it's supporting on the 50, it has to open positive tomorrow. And let's see, did we do GDP? I thought we did. No, but you can stay long on this one. They've got a slow curve set up. Halliburton. Stay short. There's that gap down, and gap down pretty much through all the resistance area, the consolidation area. You want to be short this one. And another slow curve on Intel. Intel, again, is not a very exciting stock trade because of the lack of magnitude of movement. But if you're long, you stay long. If you like this one, you can be buying this one on positive trading. And Micron. Micron stays short till you see a buy signal and a close above the T-line. WWWW, this one, if it opens lower tomorrow, you go short. If you're long, this is why exactly when you see a buy signal, you see what it does once it gets to the first resistance level, which in this case was the T-line. Now you have to see what it does at the T-line. And we did Apple. CLR. CLR, nothing here. Just stay short if you're short. But probably with it as junky in here, I probably wouldn't be long or short this one. There's probably better ones, Victor, to go after. Oh, it's difficult to follow my pointer. All right, I'll try to move it slower then. OVTI, nothing here to get excited about. So you see a strong buy signal or sell signal one way or the other. We did Intel. BlackBerry. BlackBerry, you should have closed this one out even though there's not a sell signal. You had the prospect that the further away you moved from the T-line, the higher the probability is going to come back and test it. And not only did it test it, but it pretty much told you that they weren't supporting here. It should have been closed out. You can always buy it back on the next buy signal. And Baidu, you just stay long until you see a sell signal and a close below the T-line. So it has to open higher tomorrow. I think we did LinkedIn. Yeah, we did LinkedIn. This one you can be shorting it because of the kicker signal. Doesn't matter if the T-line is declining or rising when you're looking to enter or exit a trade. No, doesn't matter. It's just the T-line. See, we did Scotty, we did Apple, PCOV. This one should have been closed out today also. This one should have been closed out with it closing below the T-line. Now, this is another case where if you didn't close it out, it has to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. If it opens weaker, you close out the position. And Tweeter, right now, it can't get started. You shouldn't be in it right now. You probably wouldn't be short this one right now, but you shouldn't be in this one. There's no good chart pattern here to tell you what to do. So if that's the case, there's too many other charts out there that have good patterns. JC Penney, get ready to go long, but it needs a strong buy signal to get you back up above the T-line. If you're looking at this one, yeah, you need to see that buy signal above the T-line. And Xerox, stay long as it stays above the T-line. Disney is not a very exciting one to trade either because of its institutional characteristic, meaning slow moving. I just think there's probably better things to be trading right now other than Disney also. Just not a good breakout. We did Bidu. IOC did the little kind of bobble in here. Be ready to buy this one. I'd have my stop at 60, a little above 60. If it comes up through there, the J-hook pattern's in progress. And did that CFL to CLF. Get ready to buy this one on the slow curve. If it breaks through the 50, next target is the 200. And FIG, another J-hook pattern. You just stay long until you see a sell signal and a close below the T-line. As long as that pattern stays in progress, you stay with it. And C's, nothing here. You're still in this slow downtrend. I wouldn't be long on this one. If I was anything, it'd be short. CADC, that's a toughie. That's not a good-looking chart, and it also looks like the volume is probably a little bit iffy on this one. LJPC, stay short. As a matter of fact, put your sell stop at 1094. If it comes down through there, this gap down is still in progress. Look for it to go to the 50-day moving average. An MOV, stay short until you see a buy signal. Notice right here at the 200, they gapped it down. You don't want to be buying this one. As a matter of fact, you probably want to be shorting this one if it comes back down through today's open. EGH, wouldn't short it, but you definitely should have been out of it today. And let's see, what was I? Oops, scrolled past me here. VCRA. Oops, something's delaying things here. VCRA, you should have closed this one out for two reasons. Because this was setting up for that scoop pattern and it failed. So right now the trajectory, there's no trajectory to it. This one should have been closed. And ARCO should have been closed. IMMU, boy, nothing. There's no trend to this one. There's, yeah, this one, there's nothing here. And let's see. The voice is on and off. Okay. Okay, let's, yeah, I don't know whether it might be the cold weather up here doing something. I've always had problems here at this house because we're kind of out in, a little bit out in the country. And we would have Armstrong, which is the cable service up here, out here every 5 days. Marathon, if this opens lower tomorrow, you can be shorting it. SLV, that's silver. This one, I'm not real confident that the metals are ready to move up yet. Fuel cell or rocket fuel, it has to stay above the T-line to stay in this one. But as you can see, there was a little breakout. Just stay with this as long as it stays above the T-line. BCOV, I don't see a sell signal, so why recommend closing it just because it closed below the T-line? Because you're up in the overbought condition. You traded back below the last big bullish candle. You closed below the T-line. You can always buy it back if it turns around. Okay, let's call it a night. Why do some people say the candlesticks don't work? Because they don't know how to use them. It's like anything else. If somebody has a trading program and they can't figure out how to use it, they think it doesn't work. The I guess the proof of the pudding is if something doesn't work, it disappears pretty quick. GSAT, get ready for this belt hold. This one you can be buying on positive trading. So, anyways, all right, let's call it a night. We're trying to get some of the cars still in the barn. So, with that, we'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning. If you haven't gone through the weekend training, I would suggest it just as a kind of an overall just to kind of give them a overall perspective of how to use candlesticks. Now, the barn isn't heated. The training session starts this Saturday. We go from 9 to 1, then probably from 4 to 7. How often do we do a weekend training? Maybe twice a year. Sometimes 3 times a year, depending. Oh, yes, thanks, Don. Yes, there's the, what did I say about GSAT? GSAT, that's a belt hold. It can still be bought on positive trading tomorrow. Oh, Garth, Pat is going to be going out to Las Vegas. I was going to go, but we decided it'd be better for me to get things set up for the weekend. Because all I needed to do is get stuck out there after setting everybody up for the weekend and me not being here. That would not be good. So, Miss Peggy, I was still going to call you. And Achilles, I'll call you. Same with you, Roger, and the same with you, Greg. So, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.